So with the final weeks of the season underway, we had a massive tournament, or two massive tournaments on the men's side and a massive tournament on the women's side over in Asia. Let's have a look at the players that are at a career high this week. And on the women's side, there was a lot of them. Schneider, she went up 2 spots to a career high number 14 in the world after making the semifinals in Tokyo. Andreeva, she actually goes up to number 16 in the world, which is a career high for her. Last week, it was a little bit of an error, so she's gone up 1 spot now to number 16. That's an official highest ranking. Avanesian as well, she goes up a spot to number 44 in the world, which is a career high for her. Danilovic, after winning the title last week, she goes up 34 spots to number 52 in the world, which is her career high. Uchiyama, she goes up 2 spots to number 55 in the world, another career high week for her. Moniro, she goes up 4 spots to a career high 56 in the world after making the quarterfinals last week in the 250 event. And Zarazua, she goes up to 62 in the world after winning a challenger event this week, goes up 9 spots higher than last week, which is a career high for her. So a lot of players there getting career highs this week because they did play the smaller events, and we're going to see this over the next couple of weeks on the men's side as well. A lot of the players that are lower ranked playing the 250 events, getting a lot of points, giving them a chance to boost their rankings to end the season. A lot of players getting career highs this week, especially with the big names not playing some of these events. Over on the men's side of things, not too many players reaching career highs. The same with Draper. He goes up 3 spots, number 15 in the world, which is a career high for him, of course, after winning in Vienna. Pirikar, he goes up 19 spots to 31 in the world after winning in Basel. That is a career high for him, and he'll be seeded at the Australian Open if he's able to stay in that top 30. So, massive week for him. Menchik, he goes into the top 50 for the first time to number 48, which is 3 spots higher than last week. Another young guy going up the ranks. And Vatanen, he won a challenger event this week and goes into the top 100 for the first time. He goes up 18 spots to number 96 in the world because of that challenger win. So even if they aren't the biggest trophies in the world, challengers do help those players that are just outside the top 100 to try and get in the top 100. And that is important because if you're in the top 100, you get automatic access to Grand Slams. So Vatanen, by making the top 100, might be able to get into the main draw of the Australian Open without having to play quali. So checking out the WTA rankings for this week, and not too many changes ahead of the WTA finals in a week's time. Sabalenka still at number 1 with Swiatek at 2. Goff at number 3. But we do have a change in the middle with Paolini going up 2 spots into the number 4 spot, pushing Pegula down number 6, with Rybakina staying in the middle there at number 5. So going into the WTA finals, that actually won't be a massive change because either way, Paolini and Pegula are going to have to play either Swiatek or Sabalenka in the group stage anyway. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference at this stage. Zhang comes in at number 7 with Navarro at 8, Kasatkina at 9, and Adaj Maya, she drops out of the top 10 because of the points dropping off from the end of last year, making way for Collins, who jumps into the top 10 this week. But with the WTA finals happening in a couple of weeks, expect some changes to this top 10 before the season is over. Alright, so just to confirm, the WTA finals are almost mirroring what's happening on the actual WTA rankings, with Sabalenka at 1, Swiatek at 2, Goff at 3, Paolini at 4, Rybakina at 5, and Pegula at 6, Zhang at number 7, Navarro at 8, so she will be the first alternate going to the WTA finals, Kasatkina at 9, she will be the second alternate, and of course Krejcikova, after winning Wimbledon, she gets in, even though she's actually number 12 in the race of the finals. She won a Grand Slam, and that is enough to get you into the finals this year. So it's going to be interesting to see WTA finals starting in a week's time, and that is what we're going to look at over the next week. Over on the men's side of things, no changes because most of the top players didn't play this week, with Sinner staying at number 1 and Alcaraz at number 2, Zverev at 3 and Djokovic at 4, Medvedev at 5 with Fritz at number 6, Rublev at 7 with Ruud at number 8, Dimitrov at 9, and De Minaur rounds out the top 10 for this week. But Paris next week, worth 1,000 points. We could see some changes in the rankings if certain players do well. Of course, Sinner's not going to change, but there's a lot of players, especially with Djokovic not playing, the only person not playing in that top 10, we could see some really interesting changes over the next 7 days. Over to the race of the finals now, and only 4 spots have been locked in. Sinner, Alcaraz, Zverev, they've been locked in for a while, but Medvedev, he now joins them officially into the ATP finals again, even though this week he didn't play due to injury. Fritz is not far behind with a chance this week to qualify at number 5, Djokovic at 6 with Ruud at 7, Rublev at 8, and De Minaur at 9. But Dimitrov back into the top 10 after having a good week in Vienna, pushing Tommy Paul out of that top 10 again. So those guys are just swapping between that number 10 spot at the moment. But Paris on the line, 1,000 points as I keep mentioning, and Djokovic not playing. It's going to be really interesting to see if Ruud, Rublev, De Minaur, and Dimitrov push Djokovic out of the race of the finals because, of course, not playing in Paris, Djokovic has made his intentions clear that the ATP finals are not that important. Otherwise, he would be playing to qualify. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens next week in Paris. So there you have it. The season is almost at an end, and it's only just getting interesting, I guess, because on the women's side, we go to the WTA finals very, very soon, and the number 1 ranking will be up for grabs. Sabalenka, Swiatek, they're going to be playing for that. Obviously, Sabalenka's got it at the moment. Swiatek trying to get it back by the end of the year. And then on the men's side, next week, we're going to have maybe the ATP finals has been set. Maybe. Because, of course, there is a week after that, which still has some little events that, maybe some players play and qualify at the last minute, but it's going to be really fun. Paris is always really fun because it does have that final Finals qualification on the line. But let me know down in the comments below. Who's going to win in Paris next week? Who's your prediction for Paris next week? Is it going to be Sinner and Alcaraz? They've been dominating over the last couple of months. Or do you think someone may be random? Because Paris does throw up random champions over the last few years or over the last decade. There have been some random champions there. Maybe someone outside the top 10 might win. But there it is. They're the rankings for this week. Is the season coming to an end?